Hi there. This is Bob again with Heather. We are on the third part of this, and recollection of the second and first is that they tried taking her kids for false allegations, gave them back, didn't keep the support in. Second time was them having to call in, got rejected, resorted to spanking, had to call in again, was put in there for a week, got brought home early because they couldn't handle him, told to take a parenting class that was a joke, told basically you're on your own. I'm coming back for all your children. And now she was talking about the incident that the two girls will be talking about. One will be coming soon. So I know this must be hard for you, Heather, and I really appreciate all the things that you have talked about. And so, can you please start again with the third part? You've talked about what has happened, how it brought it up to it, but we haven't heard after they were taken. So, again, thank you a lot, and I know this must be tough for you, so here you go.
I honestly forgot where they left off. The kids were taken, and little ones were handed into them, and I went 3 weeks not knowing anything of where they were or what was going on. Um, Finally got a phone call, and all I could hear was my kids crying and screaming for mommy and daddy to come get them. And that's gonna be the most horrifying thing to hear, your kids screaming for you, and you can't go to them. And at one point in the conversation, I said to them, "Are they treating you good there?" And my conversation was ended. I got a phone call back from Peter Wong, who told me that they had to end the conversation short due to me crying was upsetting the kids, and that I cannot be talking or asking questions. That's not what the phone call was about. When we asked when we could see the kids, they kept telling us they didn't know. They didn't know if we were going to be allowed to see the kids. And at that point, my heart told me that something wasn't right. And I started calling lawyers. I ended up with the first lawyer, which was Pat, which was legal aid. And her comments were, keep signing. Keep signing your 3-month orders. Just keep signing. Ask her to come to meetings with me. No. Ask her for anything. It was no. It was just keep signing. Keep signing. And near the end of the first 3 months, I got my first visit. It was at the Family Support Center, and I just, being supervised for the first time with my kids, I felt like all my rights were taken away. I would have been happier to have a room where they were watching from the other side than have them sit in the room with me like that. Like I was some freak. Or like I was the one that hurt my kids. But when my kids came in the room, my two youngest ones were brought in first, and to have them run to me like that, it was just a grab on. We spent the whole visit sitting on the floor holding each other crying. My other kids showed up late. And then my son Ryan came into the room full of hugs, kisses. He was asking when he was coming home. The worker interrupted, told me I am not allowed to talk about it. I didn't know what to tell the kids. I just kind of sloughed it off. I didn't reply to it. Then my two girls came in, and my son charged at them, grabbed them by the throats, and threw them against the wall. Told them that they were lying little bitches. To have my son talk like that horrified me. I had 2 screaming little babies on my legs as I was ripping my son from the girls. And the worker told me I had to stop what was going on and get them under control. I yelled at her, told her to mind her own fucking business. That they're the reason my kids are acting like this. And if they had any clue of what was going on, they would just mind their own business. At that point, I finally got that settled down and got them kind of separated, and we couldn't talk about it. So we're sitting there just looking at each other, holding each other, and we didn't know what to say or do because we were not allowed to talk. They left, and the worker that was in the visit took me aside and told me that they had to hand in the report to the worker, which obviously I knew that. And they told me that they honestly didn't know if there was going to be another visit because of what happened. So I got a phone call from Peter Wong talking to me about what was going on in that visit. And I told him everything. And he told me that, once again, me crying was upsetting the kids. The kids were fearful of me, that they don't want to see me again. That horrified me. And I thought, that's not what was being said. That's not what was being shown. I was just disgusted to hear that.
So, did Peter show you written statements from your children that they were terrified of you and Sheldon? Was there videotaping proof that they were saying that they didn't want to be around you guys, that they were horrifically scared of you, like, or tape recorded any of those proven facts that they were saying that? Or was it more of an allegation against you guys that this was being said?
At that point, they still have not produced any proof other than them saying my kids were saying this. And that I wasn't being a good parent by not believing them. And that was the worst feeling, being told I wasn't a good parent because I wasn't believing them. I can't believe something that I wasn't there to see. They're my kids. Of course, I stand behind them. If he did this, my exact words to them was, if he did hurt them, then he deserves to do his time for abusing them. But I know he didn't abuse them. I had a couple more visits, and then I found out they had to move homes once again. And this is where they ended up, in the care of Lori. And then my visits stopped once again. 2-3 weeks went by. Nothing. I'd call the worker. Nobody would get back to me. I didn't have the foster home's number. I had a phone call from Mark and Karma, which was my 2 younger ones' foster parents, going, do you have a visit? Because it's been 2 weeks now since your visits, and we're just wondering what's going on. And I said, I don't know. I haven't heard from the worker. Her comment was to me was, I too have not heard from him. I call in. I get nothing. My husband calls in, and he gets a phone call back up within 20 minutes. But he's at work right now, and I'm really sorry. I can't do much more for you at this point. I said, that's okay. She goes to me, she goes, I don't see why they don't even return your kids. There's nothing wrong with you. I said, I know that. She goes, you need a new worker because this worker does not deal well with women. It's like he's racist against women. I said, I wasn't the only one feeling that. She goes, no, I hate dealing with him. I said, me too. I didn't know how to go about getting a new worker. At that point, I'd probably have to say about another week went by, and I got a phone call from Peter going, there was new allegations. I said, what were they? They said that they were sexually molested, and they think that I might want to come down and hear my kid's disclosure. I went to the office, and I can honestly say I puked hearing what was being said, and I will not discuss that. At that point, I was having a hard time because I didn't know what to believe. Because to me, their statement was that he abused the kids, and that he was the one that punched Candace in the head. And they weren't telling the truth. They were manipulating every one of us. When I was starting to feel like this was all going wrong, I was like, this is it. I'm going to the media with this. The workers looked at me and told me if I did, they were going to make sure I didn't see my kids again. You know how fearful that is? That's a pretty big